It's one of those books where you're like, I get it. This book is a bad gal. And like I said, it wasn't in a way where I was like, bleh, Christians, we gonna put it in your throat. It wasn't aggressive. This book combines success and productivity.
I don't know where to begin. Could be the curves on your body, but then could be your hair, maybe your skin. Yeah, baby girl, I'm tryna get with you. Come, let me see what we get into. It don't even gotta be physical, as long as that pretty face visible. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not sure what to say.
Yeah, we're jamming. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ree. Hi, on this channel we talk about a lot of things, but mainly travel, life, and beauty. So if you're interested in those things, make sure to hit that subscribe. Yes, we have our coffee in hand. So in today's video, we're gonna be super chill, super fun. We're doing our end of year book wrap up for 2022. I love this. I hope we can keep it going. So in 2022, if you don't know, I've been reading and I made it one of my goals and I put it on my vision board to become a better reader or to read more. My preferred reading right now is like self-help, non-fiction books, financial books, you know, books that can actually change my life. And I really have been enjoying just exploring that genre of books a bit more. So my goal for this year, if you don't know, definitely watch the 2023 reset routine. I talked about my goal of reading 12 books this year. Didn't make it, but that's okay. I read 7, and in this book we're going to talk about the 7 books that I read in 2022 that honestly I feel like made my 2022 as special as it was. We're going to hop right into it. And if you're interested in checking out any of these books for yourself, all of the books you can find in my Amazon storefront. I'll link it down below. There's a full section called books, and it has even some of my TBRs, so like ones that I really want to read but I haven't yet. So if you're a bookie like me, then I got you, and definitely check that out if you want some cool recommendations as to really good books. All right, we're gonna dive in. Let's take a sip. Come on, caffeine, flow through me. Flow. You better let it flow. I feel energized. So the first book of 2022 that I actually read was Atomic Habits by James Clear. Such a classic. I have been watching people for years read this book, like watching from a distance, and I finally bought the book, I believe back in 2021, and I finally read it in 2022, and I understand. It's one of those books where you're like, I get it. I think it's been voted one of the best books of all time, and I get it because it breaks down such fundamental principles that we were never taught, like as children or in high school while we're learning. We're never taught the importance of habits, and it shares a lot of principles that are really the key to success, in my opinion. I think it's a great book to start off a new year reading because it really gets you in the thinking of what are my habits that I'm doing every day and how are they directing me towards the goal that I'm trying to reach. I also like that it talks about things like habit stacking, when is the best time to do like certain habits and stuff. It has a lot of key information that I honestly wish somebody like told us this in high school or college, because I think it would have like changed a lot of what we were doing back then. So I really like Atomic Habits. I think it's a classic and I think it's a must read. The next book I read was, I'm gonna just let y'all know off the bat, this is my favorite book of 2022. Favorite. It honestly changed my thinking and really caused me to just reflect at a stage that I've never reflected before. So my second book that I read in 2022 was Crazy Faith by Todd. And when I tell you, this book is on another level, and it's not at a point where like, because obviously Todd he's the pastor of Transformation Church, if you don't know. So when you're reading books from pastors, it can come across as super spiritual, super Christian based, super religious, and for some reason I didn't get that from this book. I felt like I was having a conversation with like an older friend about faith and what faith can do and how faith can transform you and the different forms of faith you have in your life. What to do when your faith is like fading, what to do when your faith is like small and baby. It talked about so many different levels of faith. Like, this book caused me to sit. This book caused me to reflect and be like, what am I doing that has been holding me back? What are the things that I'm trusting God for? And how can I lean into that trust? Like, how can I fully apply my faith to what God has been calling me to? And like I said, it wasn't in a way where I was like, blah, Christians, we gonna put it in your throat. It wasn't aggressive. It's not an aggressive spiritual book. And I honestly would encourage you, to someone who is a non-Christian, to even read it, because he presented it in such a way where there was no pressure from that religion standpoint. Like, it honestly was a conversation, and I feel like his testimony just strengthened his like thesis or his theory of faith. This is the book that I would ship to anybody at any point, at any stage. Like, I really love this book. I just think the way the book is written as well is very approachable and friendly. My preferred style of like books is like, I like it to feel like a conversation with a friend. So any book where I feel like the author is really like just sitting down and having a coffee, and just having like coffee with me or just a quick chat with me, I really enjoy those books the most. So I really enjoy Crazy Faith. It is the book I would recommend to anybody, for anybody. It's just such a really good book, and I'm happy that it's a New York Times bestseller. To have that book at the forefront, like, we all need a little bit more faith. That's just the truth about it. Like, this life is really a faith walk. This you walking with faith. The whole of this life. Picture it. The third book I read this year, I did not plan to read. That was Self-Care for Black Women. I found it while we were in Miami with the girls. I think I stumbled on it in Target. And I was like, this is just such a cute book. Self-care, but specifically for Black women. You don't really see that a lot. I just naturally gravitated towards the book and I bought it. I really enjoyed the book. I think it talks about self-care from a Black woman's perspective really well. And talks about just navigating the workplace, having to be that diversity hire, having to deal with the oppression from slavery, and the fact that, you know, people just keep on trying to touch your natural hair, and a lot of things that like you wouldn't deal with unless you were a woman of color. And I feel like it highlights that, but it highlights that in a way where it's like, yes, this has happened to you, but here is why self-care is so important. You get me? Like, here is why you should pour into yourself, because you have been through it, because you are a strong Black woman, but you're also deserving of love, like, type of thing. And I really enjoy that perspective. So if you don't know, this book has a lot of activities. It has it broken up into mind, body, and I think soul sections, where it has different activities that you can do for self-care moments. For me, this is a good coffee table book, to be honest. I'll put it on my coffee table and have people read it, because I think it'll just inspire somebody to take care of themselves, and I like that. But it's a good read. I enjoy it, and I think it was a good reminder that some of the activities that you didn't even know you were doing, like maybe creating a playlist, going for a nice walk, like, these are all self-care activities that we don't necessarily highlight because they don't look like the typical self-care that we might see all the time, like going to the spa, or like, you know, getting like expensive procedures. Like, sometimes self-care can be free. And I think that was such a great highlight of this book, that you can do little things to better your mind, your body, and your soul that don't have to break the bank. And anything like that, I am all the way for. The next book I read after that was The Magic of Thinking Big. I 100% was persuaded to buy this book from Steve Harvey. I used to watch the Steve Harvey show so much. It used to come on 3 p.m. maybe when I used to take my lunch break, and I really enjoyed watching the Steve Harvey show. And it was one of those off-camera moments where he recommended 2 books. This was one of the books that he recommended. For me, I enjoyed the book. I think it has a lot of core principles, and you can tell it's an older read. It reminds me of what is that book called with Napoleon? Think and Grow Rich. Okay, yeah, it reminds me of the writing style of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, but it has a lot of core principles that somebody should have told you if you didn't know. Just like being polite, dressing well, thinking highly of yourself, like in an interview, in every situation. Like, these are things that sometimes you need a reminder of. You need that foundation to be set, if you get me. So I think it's a really great foundational book. Personally, in this phase of my life, as I'm reflecting on this book, I wouldn't say it was a must read, because I feel like I was past that point. Like, I've been thinking big, cue this channel, like this is my thinking big type of thing. So I feel like I might not have necessarily needed this book at this stage, but I do still think it was a great read. Would I like be like, you have to get it? No, but I think it's a great casual read, if you get me. Another coffee table favorite. All my books could go on a coffee table. Let's let it up. Should you have a coffee table? Tom Ford book where? That's no value. I'm giving you principles. While you have coffee, how about you learn something? You know, that's my vibe. I like books where you grow. This is my opinion. After you graduate from college or school and stuff, there needs to be some sort of continuous learning. And one of the best ways for me to learn is via a good book. So this is why I've been gravitating so much towards towards non-fiction, self-help, inspirational, financial books. I just feel like it's a really great way to have that continuous learning in your brain so that you're never bored. So, and a lot of times when you see people talking about like their millionaire morning routine or their miracle morning routine, a lot of it includes reading for 30 minutes because it's good for the noggin, man. It's good for your brain to sit down and just gain some knowledge or just to have a quick read. And it's helpful too because it helps you to unplug from your phone. Sometimes you need less screen time, more pen to paper, because and we getting sidetracked, but I initially had a Kindle and I've been switching more to physical books just because I want less screen time. And I enjoy my Kindle, don't get me wrong, I love reading books on my Kindle, but I needed like less screen time, and books have been my escape from looking at all these blue lights and television and all these stuff. So I love a good book, not gonna apologize for that. No, you won't get it. Apology, never. Love a good book. But yeah, the next book I read was Smart Women Think Rich. That is by my boy David Batch. Or is it David Back? We don't know. David. But yeah. I love his book, The Automatic Millionaire. For me, it's just as good, but I like this book because it talks about it from that woman perspective. And for me, this was the first book where a man could tell a woman like, hey, this is how you should treat your money, but it wasn't in a misogynistic or like a masculine way. Like, literally, I'm just gonna spoil a little bit. He talked about it from the way of his grandma was the first person who talked to him about investing and stuff. And I felt like that was such a really great opening because it allowed me to realize that it was a woman who taught this man all that he knew about his millions of dollars, and that kind of like propelled him to want to teach women because he understands the importance of the women in the household. And I love that there was no misogyny, is what I'm trying to say. There was no sexism. It was honestly such a great read. I really enjoyed it, and I think it had a lot of like good tips, especially if you live in the US. He talked a lot about like mutual funds, where to invest your money, the different baskets you should have your money in. That's something that we can learn no matter where we're located, right? The different baskets we should be having our money and what we should be using our money for. So if you are into finances and just bettering your financial situation, highly recommend. Really his whole series, but The Automatic Millionaire, and then I read this year Smart Women Finish Rich. Love them. Those are really good books. Number 6 on our list of books that we read in 2022, Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. Oh my gosh, okay. So this is my pyramid of like books that I've really enjoyed. We have Crazy Faith as like number 1 of our pyramid. This is Crazy Faith. And then like right next to each other of Equality, for me, Automatic Habits, of course, and then Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. If you are a person with anxiety or with maybe like crippling thoughts, or if you have a constant like cycle of thoughts in your head that sometimes limit what you can do in your real life, please read this book. Please grab this book. But I will give you a warning. She is a pastor, so she is presenting it from her spiritual perspective. But she talks about how she experienced similar things and how she needed her own system and her own help and her own reminders to get out of that spiral. Anxiety and depression is no joke, and it has so many of us in a hole today. Like, it's literally something different that no generation has ever experienced before. The crippling thoughts that we have going on because we have access to so much more. It's easy to get overwhelmed, it's easy to get flustered, it's easy to doubt yourself, and it's easy to spiral. And when I tell you, this book is such a great reminder of how your thoughts matter, and if you don't pour into yourself, you're gonna have a completely different life. You have to have reminders of how awesome you are, and how you're treasured, and how you're loved, and how even though I don't know what's happening around me, I can trust and believe that all things are working together. I'm full of uncertainty. I could be freaking out, and it's like, no, I'm gonna be calm. I'm not gonna let my thoughts control what I'm doing outside, because I'm gonna rest in the sureness that it will all work out. Did I not just transform in front of your eyes? I'm telling you, it's the book. It's really good. But I will warn you, she's a preacher and she's talking about God in this book. So if you are not a Christian, you might not favor it, because it's giving you from a Jesus perspective. That's all I could do. Warn you. But I really enjoyed the book, to be honest. And she has other books, and now I'm interested in reading the other ones as well. And then the last book that I'm reading, I'm actually on the last chapter of this one, but I have to mention it. The 12-week year. Oh, this book combines success and productivity. That's the best way I can describe it. So basically, the whole notion of this book is that we spend an entire 12 months trying to plan out our year, trying to plan out our success, trying to meet these goals, and they can be done in 12 weeks. And this is something that has been learned in companies as well as individuals, in all kind of teams and stuff. So I think this book is a must read. It's a newer book, but it is an essential. Like, you have to read it. It's really been propelling me to change my thinking when it comes to my goals. This book is a bad gal. I cannot describe it no other way. It's like, yeah, you could make it. Yeah, you could accomplish that. But what if I told you you could get where you wanted to quicker and more effectively? This book has so much knowledge. It also has application, so it tells you what you need to write down, what you need to do. I got inspired to read this book from another YouTuber. Her name is Montel B. She talks about how she was using this book to just transform her life and manifest a lot of things for her life that she wanted. And I really have been enjoying this book. So I'm definitely gonna do maybe a separate video on how I'm gonna be using the 12-week year in my own life, because it's that type of book. It's just that type of book. But yeah, this has been a really great way to end the year. The structure I had this year was so fun. Like, I started learning about faith and habits, and I'm ending learning about how to structure my new year into success. Go read. This me. I didn't even plan this. I just been going with the flow. Y'all, that's it. Coffee done. Books done. All is well. Once again, if you're interested in reading any of these books, check out that Amazon storefront. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really hope you guys have been enjoying reading with me. I usually update you guys in my monthly resets as to what I'm currently reading and mini book reviews. So if you enjoy that, definitely subscribe. We got more going on. We always talking about books here. So if you enjoy a good book, welcome to the winning side. Hello, champion. Greetings. But yeah, all right, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. Drop a comment down below. What is one book that you've read in 2022? I'd love to know. I have chills in anticipation of what you will tell me. I love it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you. I value you. Yeah, you bad. I can see you on the next one. Bye.
Sometimes I'm not sure what to say. Most times I get lost in my way.